Hey everybody, this is an audio check. Can you hear me well? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me well. Okay, thank you guys. Uh, yeah, let's wait for 5 more minutes. Let people pour in and then we'll start. Till the time people are pouring in, let's just do a poll. And I think I just want to know what type of audience we have today. So let me share my screen first. Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen with a notepad. Okay, great. Cool. We'll start in about 5 minutes. Till the time everybody pours in, let's do a quick poll. I think what I would want to know is at what stage in your professional career you are. So, mark A if you are. Sorry, give me one sec. Okay. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm just figuring out something. So just give me 1 sec before we start. Okay. Okay. Is the audio better now? I think somebody was saying the audio is breaking. Is it better now? Okay. Cool. Okay, cool. I think let's get started. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to share my screen and can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So I think before we start, we'll just do a quick poll. And this is again just to get to know all of you and what type of experience do you guys have. So mark A if you are still in college. Mark B if you have 0 to 2 years of experience. Mark C if you have 2 to 5 years of experience. And Mark D if you have 5 years plus experience. So let me start the poll. Okay. So we have about 30% people here who are in college. 0 to 2 years people, 40%. We have 2 to 5 years, 30%. And we have nobody in the 5% category. Perfect. Okay, cool. I think this is great. Okay, thank you guys for coming, taking out time on your Saturday and coming to this system design introduction class. So to give you a little bit introduction about myself, my name is Sagar and I'm an Amazonian and I've been at Amazon for the last 5 years. I did my master's in University of Southern California and after that, I went on to join Amazon. I worked in Alexa for initial few years, and now I work for Amazon Finances. So I have been designing, doing system design at Amazon for the last few years, and I think it's one of the most interesting part of my job that I do on a daily basis. So in the next few days, I'll be coming live on the Unacademy platform and sharing a bit of, my system design experiences so that, we can learn together and hope all of these system design experiences will help you. So before we start, and again, this course, though, it was called the Introduction to System Design, you see the title here is called the Art of System Design now. And, I'll also talk about why I feel system design is an art. So we'll talk more about that. So before we start, I would want to share something really interesting that I came across when I was, just preparing for this course. Let me share that. So if you see, this is a screenshot from my phone, and I got this email on 18th of June. That's yesterday, and it says integration test email one from HBO Max. This template is used in integration test only. I'm not an HBO employee, and this email was not supposed to reach me. Uh, can you guys tell me in the chat of first how many of you guys got this email and if you have any idea what this email is about? Exactly. So Saswat says some intern messed up. So to follow up with this email, I will just share a tweet that I found that was very interesting. So HBO Max Health tweeted saying we mistakenly sent out a test email to a portion of our HBO Max mailing list this evening. We apologize for the inconvenience. And as the joke piles on, Yes, it is an intern. No, really, we're helping them through it. So, in the Silicon Valley, there's this joke that, the intern season is coming. Look forward to all the screw ups that the interns are going to do. And it's really fun, to see how, big things failed during the intern season. I remember in 2019, DynamoDB stopped working because of, again, something that an intern did. I remember GitHub stopped working. I think in 2018, and the summers are amazing because we see so many of such things happening. And then JBD, who was again an Amazonian, she tweeted saying, "Dear intern, it's okay. I dropped a prod database when I was a senior engineer. These things happen often than you might think. Good Building good systems is about having resilience against human mistakes because we humans always make mistakes." So I think why I particularly brought up this, because where she says building good systems is about having resilience against human mistakes, and that's what we will be practicing during our art of system design, where we'll try to build systems which are as good and as efficient, that they're resilient against human mistakes. And again, like she says, we human always make mistakes, and we humans are the ones that are making systems. So we'll make sure during the course, during the next few weeks, whenever we're meeting, we're keeping this in mind, that whatever we are building is resilient to human mistakes. Okay, so to start with the course, let me now erase all of this. Okay, cool. So basically, I think there are a few questions. What is this about? Who needs to take this course? What is going to be the structure of it? And I'm going to be answering all of those queries during the next 1 hour. To get started with, I think whenever you start anything, it's very important to ask a few questions. And those questions are, again, the 5 Ws that you must have heard of. So the 5 Ws are, sorry. Okay, so these are the 5 Ws, and then there is one H, which is called how. Cool. So to answer all of these questions about system design, the question that who system design is not relevant. The question that when and where, I'll come to. Let's answer what is system design first. So to start with, system design is basically an architecture or a collection of technologies that serves a set of users to fulfill a set of requirements. Now, I think we'll basically cover all of these sections one by one. Okay, cool. So basically, to start with, this is a definition of a system, and what a system means, it's basically an architecture or a collection of technologies that interact with each other, and that serves a particular purpose. And this purpose is for serving a set of users. In every system that we define, the set of users will be very unique, and then we fulfill a set of requirements for these users. So basically, a system necessarily does not has to be a tech system. It could be some, like, a system can be something like a restaurant. So in a restaurant, a restaurant architecture could be, where you basically have your waitress or the waiter on the front door taking reservations. Then you have somebody who's basically helping everybody, sit down and allot tables. Then you have the chef, who's cooking inside, and then you have the waiters and the task force, that are basically serving food and cleaning tables and chairs, or just, taking care of the management, billing, stuff like that. So that's an architecture of the system of a restaurant. The set of users is basically anybody who walks into the restaurant to eat something. And the set of requirements will for a restaurant will be, like, the restaurant should have a good ambience, the restaurant should have good food, the restaurant should have mood lighting and things like that. And that's the set of requirements. So basically, when we deal with system design, what we are dealing with is basically selecting technologies for your architecture. So you would basically select, from the available technologies in the market, what technologies would fit well into your architecture. Then you would basically define your users. And the idea here is that, you need to have a clear definition of who will walk into your restaurant, because that's why once you have a clear definition of who will walk into your restaurant, you will set the understanding of requirements based on that. So basically, for example, if your restaurant is a cafe that's targeted at 18 to 25 years of age group, you would set the ambience or the decor like that. So that's why your set of requirements would be defined by your set of users. So basically, system design is selecting your technologies for your architecture, defining your users, and then setting requirements for those users. So that's the what of the system design. And again, system design, like I said in the very starting, system design is an art, because there is no right and wrong in system design. Like, for example, if let's take our classic restaurant use case. You may feel that I need to play jazz in my restaurant because that's what sets the mood. However, somebody walks into your restaurant and feels that jazz is so boring, it makes me go to sleep. So again, the requirement, the design of the system would be, it's an art because it's defined as per what you think is the right thing. However, the idea with system design is that you come to a consensus with the stakeholders of the system design. So if you are sitting in a system design interview, you come to a consensus with your interviewer that this is what our set of requirements is. So that's the what. Let me go to the chat and see if there are any questions on the what. Any questions on what is system design? Is UX a part of system design? Yes. So anything that is UX, is UI UX a part of system design? Yes, UI UX is a part of system design. So anything that involves defining requirements, defining architecture is a part of system design. Is there any other question on what is system design? Okay, cool. We'll move on to the next part, which is why. Does flowchart, etc., come under system design? Yes, Nishant, definitely. Basically, in flowcharts, you're defining the flow of the system, and you may, for example, in a restaurant, you may be defining like from the point a person comes inside the restaurant to the point the person checks out and makes the payment. The whole flow will be defined using a flowchart, and that will be a part of the system design. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I have the chat window on the side. So if you have any questions, just let me know. I'll keep on answering them as we go forward. Okay, cool. So let's go to the why of system design. So the system design process is a very complicated process. The process basically in a real world scenario, let's say, moving on from our restaurant to, let's say, a tech example, let's say designing Instagram, right? Now, Instagram was actually designed by a team of thousands of engineers, and all of these engineers are key players in their areas. For example, we have somebody who's who is a VP of databases, or sorry, VP of data. We have somebody who's VP of security. We have somebody who's VP of UI. So all of these big players are coming together and designing the system. So it's definitely a big team effort that goes into in designing the system. So system design is a complicated process, and the idea on why do we need to learn system design, we'll basically tackle those reasonings on why we want to learn system design. So it takes huge teams to do system design, and you will see me saying this again and again throughout the next few days, that system design is an art of deciding about trade-offs. This is very, very important. And the idea is that like I said, in your restaurant, you have jazz music playing, right? And you have a trade-off. Like with jazz music, you will attract a certain audience, people who like jazz music, and with rock music, you may send off a few of the customers who like silent places, right? So so designing a system is basically the the art of deciding between trade-offs. And if you in a system design interview, if you are able to reason yourself, if you're able to walk the interviewer or the system design stakeholder through the trade-offs, I think you're good. So basically, like, let's say we're doing Instagram, and in Instagram, your trade-offs could be whether I want to increase user engagement by showing, uh, let's say, three pictures simultaneously. And the idea is I will split the screen into three parts and show the user three pictures simultaneously. Or should I basically just show one picture like it is, right? And the idea is that maybe if I show three pictures to the user will be more addicted to the app, and I will get more user engagement. Uh, However, if I just show one picture, the user may get bored and may just close the app. But with three pictures, I could just be bombarding user with a lot of information, and it could be just information overflow, and he may walk away from the app. So again, it's the art of deciding trade-offs. There's no right and wrong, but you just have to walk yourself through the trade-offs. Okay, cool. So why system design? Basically, we often often this question comes up, that why do people ask system design in interviews? Why I just need to learn algorithms, data structures. Why do I need to learn system design? That's because what the interviewer is trying to judge you on is your failure points. Are you able to basically identify in a technical system what failure points could exist? For example, to give you a small example, let's say I create a system which has this one server, sorry, which has this one server, and it has this user who's accessing this one server. And then this another user comes up and tries to access the server. But the server is actually already loaded with traffic from this user. Now, basically, this server has become a failure point in my architecture, because this user is not able to, this server is not able to serve request for, it's called an A and B, is not able to serve request for user B, right? So basically, server A is the failure point for my system. So why system design is very important is because, are you able to identify your failure points correctly? Okay. The second point is how closer are you to actual working scenarios? So in the real life, let's say you get a project from your client and the client wants to build a website, right? Now in the real world scenario, what you would do is you would first ask the client to elicit all their requirements. Once you get all the requirements, you would go back and you once you go back, you just don't start implementing whatever the user asked for, whatever the client asked for. What you would do is you would prepare a design doc. In the design doc, you would compare, okay, these are the different technologies I have. This is going to be the cost of each technology. This is what will perform better. This is what the user needs are. So in a real life scenario, you would actually need to do system design very, very often. So that's why system design is asked in interviews, because they want to see how closer are you to actual working scenarios. The next part is basically articulation of technical concepts. So when you walk into a system design interview, or you basically explain, your system design to anybody, what they're trying to also judge you on is how well you're able to articulate or explain yourself to to the interviewer or to the stakeholder. Are like you may have really nice coding powers, you may have really nice data structures and algorithms, but if you're not able to articulate your system design and explain it, it doesn't complete you as a software engineer. So what they're trying to judge you on is, are you able to design systems, and then are you able to articulate them to your interviewer? So that's the why of system design. You would again be doing a lot of system design in the real life scenarios. So they're trying to judge you on how close you are to the system, to actually working scenarios. How good you are in identifying failure points, and how good are you at articulation of technical concepts. So that's the why. Going back, we have now also addressed the why. Any questions on the why of system design? Articulation here means basically start kit PK. Articulation here means basically how well are you able to explain, how well are you technically well versed with explaining this design to your stakeholders. Are the requirements pre-mentioned or we assume? So Shivang, we will see the how we basically, I'll address this question in the next 10 minutes. Design patterns are a part of system design. Yes, Ajay. Only architects do system design. No, Anshul, that's not correct. I think software engineers, software managers, or technical program managers, system design is a part of anybody's life. In fact, I've also seen people who are just doing, DevOps or testing also do system design for their frameworks. So I think system design is essentially a requirement for everybody who's going to touch software in any way or interact with software in any way. Prerequisite for learning system design. We will see the prerequisites, Nishant. Cool. Never assume. Very nice, Anshul. Never assume. Okay, cool. So going forward, we have already answered the why of system design. Let's now look at the when and where of system design. So when and where, I'll basically combine them together and explain to you guys, when do we need system design and where do we do system design. And this is again something which is very straightforward and simple. So you need system design at interviews, which is, I think, one of the most important things that we need to prepare for. You need to design systems at interviews, which will only give you about 45 minutes. to design a system which is really complex and complicated. And then at your workplace, so like we have already discussed, if you are, if you are interacting with software or technology in any way, you could be an SDE, SDM, DPM, data engineer, software quality engineer, DevOps engineer. You would have to do system design at some point at your workplace. So all software family job roles would require system design. Then you could be at startups, you would need system design. If you are a CEO, CTO, or any C-level uh, executive, you would need to design your system before you actually hand it over. And again, I know I'm going to get the question that, oh, the CEO never does system design. But, before you actually hand over, your brief to your software engineers, you will have to basically put in your set of requirements, a set of users, what you're looking from a technical perspective. The technical gaps can again be filled by somebody from the software family, but as a CEO and a CTO, you will have to do system design at some point. At school and college projects. So again, this is something that is not a very common practice, because in school and college projects, we basically don't handle we don't handle a lot of user requirements, and these are not real life scenarios. But system design can also be done in school and college projects. If 30% of the users that are today in school and colleges, I would definitely advise you to write system design docs before doing any school and college projects. And if you're doing any personal project, so if you're doing, like, for example, I did a project, I think in April, which was an automation project for myself. And for that, I just use system design. Sometimes, when you use system design, things become fairly quick and simple, because in system design, you've already done a lot of heavy lifting. And after that, it's just writing code. So things become fairly simple, once you have defined your system really well. So definitely, you should also do system design, when you're defining your personal projects. Okay, so that was the when and the where of system design. Any questions on that? How to incorporate system designs in personal project? Yeah, Anshul. So basically, the idea is, before you're doing a personal project. Let's say, I did my automation project. I have to very clearly define on what is the scope of the project, what I'm tackling with. And then from there, choose my set of technologies. How would I save my data? Where would I get my data from? How would I interact with the system? What would the user interface look like? What are the multiple points of failure? What are the trade-offs? If And also, when you're doing personal projects, something that's really important to think about is cost. So we don't want to load our credit card bills with a lot of heavy projects, so with a lot of heavy infrastructure cost. So that's why all of these, if we evaluate at an early point with the system design, it can help us in a smoother execution of our personal projects. Any questions on the where? Is there any confined syllabus of system design? Very nice question, Rahul. So there is, that's the fun part about system design. There is no defined syllabus. In your data structures and your algorithms, you may still be able to define boundaries. And with system design, there is no defined syllabus, and that's the fun part, because sometimes I've seen, like, people come into the system design interview, and then they just talk about a technology that's really recent, and they themselves haven't really studied a lot about it, and then they just rat hole themselves into not knowing enough about that technology. So there's no confined syllabus, there is no defined methodology. In fact, all system design interviews are completely different. So and that's the fun part of system design. Is system design related to hardware? More or less, I would say no, because as we are actually going forward, there is a lot of, like, for example, back in the day, like back when my granddad was actually coding, he would use COBOL or Fortran, which were very low level hardware languages. And then came, like languages like C++, where you could actually interact with the memory and stuff. And now, we have languages like Python or Go, which are very high level. So as we are progressing, a lot of hardware stuff is being managed by technologies or by, automated by the languages itself. So, however, if you're designing something which requires a lot of hardware, for example, if you were designing an Alexa, you would have to keep in mind how to define the hardware, where the speaker would come from, how would you install the OS on the machine and things like that. So it really depends on what type of system you are designing. But if you're designing something like an Instagram, you wouldn't really need to go into what type of hardware you would be deploying your code onto. Okay, cool. I think that's the when and the where. Uh, we'll move on. And I think now there was a question about, how software design, what is there any defined syllabus for system design? And now I want to address, how is system design different from, actually, let me restrict it to system design interviews, and how are system design interviews different from coding interviews? Okay, cool. So in system design, there is no right or wrong. Like, obviously there are extremes. It doesn't really mean that, there are no right and wrongs, but the idea is that, if you can reason yourself on why, you're picking a certain component, or, you're picking a certain piece into your system design, if you can reason with your interviewer or your stakeholder, you would be good. There is no optimal solution in system design. So, like in coding interviews, you actually start with giving a brute force solution and then you work towards an optimal solution. In system design, there is nothing called an optimal solution. You can obviously reiterate on your design and make it better by adding more and more components. But like we said earlier, it's all about discussing trade offs. So in system design, we always have trade-offs, and in coding interviews, we always have optimal solutions. But in system design interviews, we have no optimal solutions. You should think about a system design interview like an open-ended conversation. And this open-ended conversation happens between two technical people. So again, the conversation is not like, you would always be using technical terms. You would be articulating, all your design with facts, which are based on design principles. In system design interviews, there is a lot of conversation, and it really depends on you on how you drive the conversation in your interview. Uh, like I said, one quick advice is, don't just quote technologies because they're recent and cooler. If you think that technology really fits into, your design, then only quote it. And again, you should be able to always list your trade-offs of why you put certain piece of technology or architecture on the board. So yeah, I think another thing is system design is more complex, again, because there is no defined syllabus, and it mostly comes with experience. So, like we've seen with, as you advance in your technical, careers, you would see more system design interviews. We see for senior engineers, for SD2s, there are more system design interview rounds than for, SD1s. So, system design is definitely that comes with experience. However, for a lot, the 60% of the class that was just starting, with their journeys into system design, it's very important that, you have a general idea of what system design is and how it works. So that's how system design interviews are different from coding interviews. Again, in coding interviews, you could just go to your coding platform. You could go to your notepad and write the code, and the interviewer will ask you a few questions about the code, and that's it. However, in system design interviews, there's a lot of talking. Every piece that you put on the whiteboard or on whatever platform you're using, there will be questions, and you should be able to talk and reason why you chose a certain technology, and why you are putting that on the board. So that's how system design interviews are different from coding interviews. And now we will basically move on to the how. And this is the most important piece. So before I go there, I just quickly want to walk through what is going to be the structure of this micro course and what I have planned for everybody in the coming weeks. So we will basically be meeting. Let me quickly type here. So we'll be meeting Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, 6 p.m. on, sorry, Yeah. So we'll be meeting Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, 6 p.m. for the next 3 weeks. And what I have planned for everybody is that, I'll be giving you a few tools, a few tips, and walking you guys, through the basics of system design. And in the next 3 weeks, I think we would be in a place where you guys can start, designing systems like WhatsApp, designing systems like Instagram, like Tinder, or designing systems like a parking lot from a technical perspective. So let me quickly walk you guys through the course schedule. So that's the course schedule. So today what we're doing is an introduction to system design. The next class is a microservice architecture class. And the class after that is called Designing for Scale. So the first three classes, which is the first micro course, is only an introductory course, which will basically introduce you to various architecture patterns. It will introduce you to how to design for scale, and it will equip you with a few tools that we usually use in a system design interview. It also will actually tell you on how we approach system design in a very structured format. Okay. The second part of the course, this is the second course, and the second course is called the deep dive into system design. The deep dive into system design has three modules again. The first module is it will cover networking protocols. This is something we have studied back in college, but if you don't remember, it will be a refresher. It will also be very hands-on on, what protocols to use where in system design. Then part two and part three are again linked together. Part two will be about designing databases. So we'll basically be covering, the whole landscape of different databases that are present. We'll be, doing SQL, NoSQL. We'll be, again, like I said, we will be comparing trade-offs of what to use when. And then in the third part of the second module, we will be designing data models. So we'll be working with schemas, we'll be working with, given a certain problem, how would you design it from a data perspective? How would you structure your database? How would you save your schemas? How would you do your joins? Stuff like that. By the end of the second micro course, you guys will be in a position where you are able to design systems. I will equip you with all tools and technologies that are needed. And then starting third course, which is the most fun course because we'll be doing everything hands-on. So this course is called hands-on system design, and it's nothing but 60 minutes of classes where we'll be just doing hands-on system design. So the first is we'll be designing Tinder. I'm sure it's one of our favorite platforms. Second is Instagram, because that's the platform that I am most addicted to. And the third platform is WhatsApp that we'll be designing, because that's also one platform that we cannot live without. So all these three platforms will give you, these three platforms are again very different platforms. They will equip you with different tools and technologies, and they will tell you, how you should approach a certain system design problem. Cool. So that is the whole idea, the whole plan for next 3 weeks. Again, the courses are structured Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, 6 p.m. And if we will be, today's 19th June, we will be going till July 7th and completing a lot of fun stuff together. If you are new to the platform, you can also use my codes, that is SAGAR, Sagar N, SAGARN, to also register for a plus course. We have a plus course coming for system design, which will cover low level as well as high level system design. However, all the courses that you see on the screen right now will be special courses, which means they will be freely available on Unacademy. Okay, cool. Coming back, before we actually move forward, I quickly want to ask if there are any open questions. Actually, I think I will stop sharing my screen and I will take the last 10 minutes to just answer questions for you guys. So Anshul is asking, will system design give us an idea of the time of delivery of project? Uh, so Anshul, yes and no. System design will give you an idea about how complicated your project will look like. However, the time of the delivery of the project is something that is again decided by a lot of factors. Something that is we decide that decides the time of delivery of project is the velocity of every engineer. The how well it is planned. How are the milestones planned, and how we will actually be launching the product itself. So system design is one level higher to planning of delivery. The next step after system design is the time of delivery and planning. So it will give you a little bit idea, but not a very good reflection of what how the delivery looks like. Okay. So Sanchit is asking, where can we see the link to watch the live session? So Sanchit, on the Unacademy platform, when you log in on Monday, Wednesday, Saturday at 6 p.m., I will be live in a special course like this, and I will be walking through those three things. Okay. Yes, started PK. Yes, it will be free. The special courses are free, and the 9 courses that the 9 small modules that we have discussed will all be free. Where can we see links to watch live sessions? Okay. Aditya is asking difference between requirement gathering and system design. That's a very nice question, Aditya. So let me just explain to you what. Let me share my screen. Okay. Also, like keep on typing your questions in the chat. I will answer all the questions. Okay, so Anshul, you asked what is the difference between requirement gathering and the difference between and system design. So to go back to this colorful diagram that I have drawn, system design is a architecture system. Basically, a system is an architecture or a collection of technologies that serves a set of users to fulfill a set of requirements. And system design is the process of selecting see the things in red on the diagram. So system design is the process of selecting technologies for a defined set of users and to understand requirements. So that is system design. Now, if you see here, this portion of the diagram, so that the set of requirements is basically where the requirement gathering session fits in. So before we actually start designing our system, we would gather requirements, and we will dive deep into this into the requirement gathering session into the second part, which is the microservice architecture that we will cover on Monday. Requirement gathering is a subset of system design. It is one step in system design. However, there are around 8 to 9 more steps in system design. Okay. Will it be free? Yes, it will be free. Sanchit is saying, I am in my final year. It will be helpful to add system design in my CV after watching this series to help me in placements. Not really, Sanchit. System design is, how I like to say it, it's a skill. It's not like learning Java. It's more like, learning, how to organize your day. It's a very niche skill. So I don't think you can add it to your resume, but what you could do is you could take this course, design a system, make a project out of it, and then add it to your CV, saying, I know system design really well, and I have produced these artifacts after, completing this course. Duration of each session, hipster, will be 60 minutes. I think 50 minutes, and then 10 minutes just for question answers. Shantanu, I am an EC student. Do I need system design databases, DBMS for interviews? Sir, can you please answer? Yes, Shantanu, if you are doing any interviews with software companies, you would need to learn system design. Also, if you're looking for like a software job, or in the future, if you plan to just enter, or you plan to interact with any piece of software, system design is something you would have to ace. I thought system so Anshul is saying, I thought requirement gathering was before system design. So Anshul, system design is not the process of just putting technologies together. It's a 9 to 10 step process. And in my next class, I will address what this process looks like. And step one of that process is requirement gathering. Will system design, Starkit PK is asking, will system design ask in every coding interview? Do or in which type of coding interview will it be asked? I belong to non-CS branch. So Starkit PK, coding interviews are different. System design interviews are different. Coding interviews are, let me share my screen again. So I basically talked about the difference between both of these earlier in the class. And if you are interviewing nowadays, even for entry level SDs, there is at least one round of system design. So if you are, I know you said you are from a non-CS branch, but if you are interviewing for a software developer role or any role in the software family, DevOps, software testing, software QA, or software developer, you would have to touch system design a little bit. Okay. Can you guys quickly type in the chat topics that you would want me to cover? Oh, there's one other question. Okay, I've already answered this. Okay, yeah. So, can you guys quickly type in chat different topics you would want me to cover in system design in the future classes, so that we are all on board onto what's coming. Okay. Yeah. So Akash is saying quality attributes. Done, Akash. We'll definitely, I think, in part one of the microservice architecture, I will walk you guys through the 9 step process of system design. And everybody who's basically going to, join these series of micro courses, make sure, you come with a pen and a paper and you're taking notes because there'll be pieces of information that I would want you to take back. So from the next class at 6 p.m., just bring your pen and paper. Uh, done, Akash. We'll definitely cover quality attributes. This is in fact planned for Monday. Anshul is saying our microservice architecture. Definitely, Anshul, that's the second lecture. The whole lecture is based on microservice architecture. Aditya is saying monolithic versus microservice. Done. That's also part of the second class. LLD. So Anshul is saying LLD. LLD is low level design. Anshul, we will touch on pieces of low level design when we do database data model designing, but also a bit in microservice designing. Microservices, when you define your contracts with microservice designing, that's also part of LLD. But a full-fledged LLD will be a little tough to cover in just 6 hours. So for that, you can join the plus course. But also after July 7th, we will have more things planned. So LLD, I will take a note of, and I will come up with LLD also. Okay, cool. Anything else you guys would want me to cover? Okay. Okay, great. Great. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I think, how is your experience in Amazon? Sanchit, connect with me on, let's connect on LinkedIn and I can talk more. Yeah. For any questions about, experience in Amazon or stuff like that, just connect on LinkedIn. We'll talk there. Capacity estimations coming in part two. Cool. Okay, guys, I think this was really nice. Please give me feedback on how you like this. If you are excited, different things you would want me to cover, connect with me. Looking forward to meeting you guys Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, every day at 6 p.m. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your weekend. Bye bye.